Hi, amazing parents and caregivers, you're welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Ngozi Okure, and I teach parents how to give their children a reading culture. So if you have tried several things to get your children to love reading and it has not worked, please draw closer. In today's video, I will be answering a question that most parents ask me. I hold weekly webinars for parents on how to give their children a reading culture. And one of the questions that parents ask me consistently is, how do I get my child to love reading books without forcing them? Now, in today's video, I will be discussing exactly that. I will be sharing 6 practical, easy to do tips that you can, employ to get your children to love reading books without nagging them. So welcome. Let's start with the very first thing. The very first thing you need to do if you want to get your children to love reading is to model the behavior you want to see in them. Yes, if you want them to read, they must see you read. Children usually do what they see us do, not exactly what we tell them to do. So let your children see you read books. Could be storybooks, magazines, could be cookbooks, but let them see you excited about books. They should be able to hear you say, wow, I didn't want that story to finish, or to share excitedly with them your latest discovery from your books. Okay, so when they see you read books, when you model reading for them, they think it's something exciting. Remember that when a child is born, your home represents the world to that child. So whatever they see you do, they perceive that that is what we do in this place. Okay, so if they see you read books, they will naturally love reading. I remember when I was raising my children, there were books everywhere. It was natural for them to see me reading, and they grew up picking the habits. Okay, and of course I did some other things that I will be sharing with you in this video that helped to fuel the desire for reading in them. My children grew up loving books, and till date they still read books. Even in this screen dominated world, they still create time to read, and that will be your story. If you can stay with me and apply the things I'll be sharing with you, because I'll be sharing from my practical experience. I'll be sharing the things that worked for me, and I'm very optimistic that they will work for you too, because they're principle-based, okay? Principles will work wherever you share them, wherever you apply them in the world. Okay, so what's the next thing you need to do? The next thing you need to do is to create a reading-friendly environment. Yes, a reading-friendly environment. Let there be books available. Make books accessible in your home. You know, I go to some homes, okay, even homes of people who are well-to-do. I look for books for children, I don't see. Yet, these people have children, but you can hardly see books in their homes. That shouldn't be it. When I was raising my kids, there were books everywhere. Okay, I had age-specific books. When they are 2-year-old, 3-year-old, they will see books that are age-specific for them. That's what you do. So make sure that books are accessible in your home. You can put them in baskets, you can put them in low bookshelves, you can put them in book bins, but make sure that there are books accessible. There are books in your home. Everywhere, in the living room, in the dining room, in the bedroom, everywhere that the child spends a lot of time, let there be books everywhere. And don't forget varieties. Make the books, okay, to be different types, different genres. You can have stories, comics, it could even be wordless picture books. Let there be books around the child. Remember also to change the books after a couple of weeks to make everything, fresh and exciting. The next thing you need to do is to let the child choose what he wants to read. You see, choice equals to ownership. When a child chooses the kind of books he loves to read, he will be able to read them. He will be able to feel that he's part of the process, and he will be able to read them. And you know what I hear parents complain about is that They want their children to pick books. The child goes about picking maybe comics or all manner of books that appeal to children, which parents think are silly. But let the child pick the kind of books that appeal to them. Remember that their interest is different from yours. Let them choose the kind of books they love to read. What we are trying to do here is to establish a habit. Once they choose those kind of books they love to read, you see that nobody will push them, nobody will nag them to read. They will naturally sit down with such books and read. And it is this habit of sitting down with books that we want to establish, because consistency breeds habits. So once they have been able to establish the habit of reading, then with time, as they grow older, they will now begin to, branch out into different other genres of books. Okay, they will begin to read other types of books. But for now that you're trying to establish that habit, if it is books on dinosaurs they want to read, let them read. If it is books on princesses, on fairies and stories like that, let them read. The most important thing is that interest and then the ability to sit down to read, which is a rare commodity in this screen dominated world. Okay, so let your child be able to pick the kind of books they love to read. You can plan the visit to a bookshop. I always encourage parents to go with the children to the bookshops. It does a couple of things to them. It enables them to pick the kind of books they love to read, and it helps them also to dream. Yes, let them see possibilities. If you are in your house, you won't even know the kind of innovations that are taking place when it comes to books. But if you take your child and visit a bookshop, you will see, the child will see a lot of other things. And it might not even end with the books. They can see educational toys. They will see things that will make them to sit down and play, sit down and do other things that is not cartoon and home video. Do you get it? Okay, so plan to visit bookshops, plan to visit libraries, and let this child pick the kind of books they love to read. The next thing that I encourage parents to do is to let the child feel that reading is fun, not a task, not homework. Now, for most parents, once it is reading, they think that reading has to be a task. And this is what puts children off reading. Let reading be seen as enjoyment. Okay, when a child is able to establish a fun-based association with book, you will see that that child will always love to read. People naturally pull away from anything that is difficult or anything that appears to be a task. This is one thing that a lot of parents do not seem to understand. I remember yesterday, a mother, reached out to me and said that her 4-year-old doesn't love to read, that each time she says, bring your books, that the child will begin to cry. You can see that that child already is establishing a fear-based association with books and reading. Why? Maybe because the mother presents books as homework or as a task, which shouldn't be. Okay, my counsel for such a mother is leave the child alone. Take that child to a bookshop. Tell them to bring age-specific books for 3-4-year-olds. Let that child choose. It could be wordless picture books, okay, specific for their age. When the child gets home, sits down with that book and begins to flip the pages, right? That is establishing a fun-based association with books. Don't push children. I remember when I got to Venezuela several years ago, and my son had finished nursery in Nigeria before we got there. And okay, now the school authorities asked me how old he was. I told them, and they put him in a class where all they did was to paint, to sing nursery rhymes, and to play. I went to the school to complain, and back home, this child had already started doing times table. He had started writing. He had started doing this and that. They asked me, how old is he? I said, they said, no, this is where he's supposed to be. Sometimes I feel that a lot of us parents in Nigeria, we push our children too hard. You want your child who is 4-year-old to do homework. What exactly are you teaching him? You're teaching him times table. You're teaching him how to do a lot of things that the child that is more advanced than him. And that's why he cries when you say, bring your book. allow the child breathe. Allow the child to grow up. Give her books to play with. Give her things to draw, to sketch, to mold with, okay? Buy him toys, buy him blocks. Establish a fun-based association with learning for this child instead of forcing him. A lot of us want children to be 10-year-old and already in the university. It might not work that way, okay? So try as parents to establish a fun-based relationship, fun-based association with books for your children. Let that child feel that book is fun, that book is for enjoyment instead of a task or a homework. Another thing you can do for your kids is to read aloud for them. Yes, this is especially beautiful for toddlers, okay? You know, bedtime stories, you cuddle with your child, you read for that child, you read aloud for the child. And this is so beautiful because outside the fact that the child is reading, you know, with you, it is, you know, establishing a relationship. Every child wants to bond with the mother, wants to bond with the father. So this period, this short period, it could be 10 minutes, sometimes it's not even up to 10 minutes of cuddling with the child and reading a bedtime story for that child is establishing a fun-based association with reading for the child, right? From experience, I know that children love stories. So when you're reading for him, he's interested, he's keen, he's learning, okay? Depending on the kind of storybooks you're reading for him, he's learning morals, he's learning a couple of other things, and he's developing his language, he's developing words, he's speaking words, he's developing his communication skills from you reading for him. Now, beyond toddlers, every child, children naturally love read aloud. So when they are taking breakfast or dinner or they are painting or something, you can employ this also. Read a story for your children. They love it. They love it. You can even establish a family tradition and say maybe every Sunday night, let it be story, maybe read aloud time. Let it be story time. Let everybody come together and read. Let your children see that books are a very important aspect of life and living. Let them not think that book is a school thing. Show them that beyond schools, that books are very important, and you can establish that right from the home. And if you're able to do that for a child early in life, you will see that that child will grow up loving books all through life. Now, the final thing I want to discuss here is that let the child see that there is a relationship between books and real life. For instance, you're reading a story to the child about cooking or about baking. You can bake with the child. Let him see that this story about cookbook does not end in the book. You can translate whatever it is you're reading from the book to real life. You can bake with your child if you're reading a story for him about baking. You can equally take your child to the zoo if you're reading books or stories about animals. I know that a lot of stories for children have animals in them, okay? So you're reading books about animals for the child. Plan a trip to the zoo. I remember the day we took my children to the zoo, my son was in a hurry. He wanted to see what was in the next place, and in the next place, mommy, come, mommy, come. He was pulling us. He wouldn't even want to settle down and watch the animals very well. He feels that there's something more exciting down there. Let's go, let's go. He wanted to see everything at the same time. So children are very curious. Children love, to watch nature, and you can plan a trip to the zoo. Let it not be that everything that you talk about books is just in the home, forcing them to read. Let them see a correlation between the stories in the book and practical life experience. Now, if you can do all this, right? If you can do all this, you will see that gradually your child will begin to love reading. And if you're able to form this foundation of a child loving to read, you will see that that child will become a star. Why? Because in school, the child will excel in academics, the child will be able to do any assignment, anything, learn any skill, and any body of knowledge that is necessary for him to acquire the necessary skills to rule and reign in his life. It was Brian Tracy that said that the keys of the 21st century are the keys of knowledge and skill. So when you are able to give your children a reading culture, you will see that that child will be able to excel in life, right? Okay, so that is one thing I believe that every parent should pay the price to give to their children. I always love the Barack Obama quote that says that reading is a gateway skill that makes every other learning possible, because whatsoever it is that the child is going to learn subsequently in life, we have to do with reading. So once you give him that foundational knowledge, that foundational experience of loving books, then you can be sure that that child will walk in the corridors of power. Someone says that the common denominator among all successful people is that they read. So you want your child to be successful tomorrow, then endeavor to give him a reading habit, a reading culture, so that he will become successful. Remember that you don't need to force a child to establish a reading habit in the child, okay? Now, I want you to start small. Pick one or two of these tips that I have shared here and try to implement them this week. If you got value from this video, I want you to please click the like button and subscribe to my channel. You can equally share the link with another parent who is on the same journey with you. At the comment section, let me know which of the tips you're going to try first, or is there anyone you've already tried that is working for your child? Please share with us. Thanks for watching. Until next time, keep reading.